before the next match, Owen Hart comes out and he introduces his tag team partner for the match versus the Smokin Gunns, which he's managed to get set up. That is Yokozuna. We are then whisked backstage where the Smokin Gunns are interviewed by Vince, who's still sat at the commentary table, so it's almost like a satellite video link up to the back, and they react with surprise at the announcement of Yokozuna. Now, Matt, I remember you commenting on this when we watched In Your House 1. There was the rematch between Owen Hart and Yokozuna against the Smokin Gunns, and you commented on how weird it was to see Owen Hart and Yokozuna together. Here you got their origin story, what there was of it anyway. What did you make of all this?
It was still weird to see them together. Just, I don't know, it doesn't seem like something that you think would fit and work as a team. So it just felt kind of weird, a little bit forced. But what was really interesting about this match is, and read between the lines, that this will certainly tell you my opinions of the show as a whole, but this was my match of the night.
Wow.
And not only that, get ready, it featured my MVP of the night as well. And it wasn't Yokozuna, and it wasn't Owen Hart.
Oh, you're an idiot.
Oh, he's going to Billy Gunn, isn't he?
He is. He's an idiot.
It was Billy Gunn.
Basically, what happened, Matt, is you're like, there's a guy I recognise and who wrestled when I was watching. I'm making him my MVP. That's what happened.
No. He had his working shoes on in this. There was lots of sort of cool moves. To be fair, that the both of the Gunns were doing. I will admit, I just happened to know Billy a little bit better, as a performer. So yes, I'm going to lean that way. But they were great. I mean, that's the one thing I did notice, is that they worked really well. They did a lot of cool stuff that I kind of think you'd see today as well, which I didn't necessarily kind of think they'd do moves like that then. So that was interesting. This was actually, again, the show quality overall pretty poor, but this was actually an alright match. It wasn't too bad. So I quite enjoyed this. I haven't seen that many Yokozuna matches, so I do find it interesting being able to see him wrestle. I mean, there were parts where, again, I do think he was trying to put some rest holds on just to try and get a bit of a rest. But yeah, it's just, this was good. Like I said, the Gunns to me were great. Billy Gunn, MVP of the night. Well done.
So just to quickly say before we go any further, so this was a night, just nearly a little under 10 minutes. The Smokin Gunns lost their tag team titles to Owen Hart and Yokozuna when Yokozuna hit Billy with a banzai drop, but Bart breaks up the pin. Yoko then throws Bart out and Owen pinned Billy for the victory. Now, I gotta say, first of all, they weren't great, were they, Matt? Let's be honest. They weren't great. They might have been quite good, but they weren't great. I think great is a well overused term for any wrestling act, especially if you're using it in conjunction with the Smokin Gunns. They were all right. Let's be fair. That great is a bit far. But I also thought, you know what? Whilst I was watching this, I was thinking they should have just left the Smokin Gunns together. That was the perfect position for these two guys. Neither were ever going to set the world on fire. Just leave them in the Smokin Gunns and have a competent little tag team for quite some time. That would have been fine. I think what they suffered for, and their reputation suffers for, is that they were tag team champions and probably the biggest regular tag team, if you like, at a time when tag team wrestling was such an afterthought is untrue. Even to the point, basically, they have been thrown in here for the tag team titles against a team that hasn't been defined in Owen Hart and Yokozuna. They haven't even been announced before the show. And how does Owen Hart earn a tag team title shot all on his own? That makes no sense. He can't, clearly not had any matches to do so. So that bit shows you a little bit where the tag team titles were. Having said all that, I really like the Owen Hart story that's going on here. I love the journey that he's on. So you've already seen he's jealous of his brother. That's a continuing theme through this show, because they talk to him and he sort of says he's going to do these things that his brother did. And he talks, when he introduces Yokozuna, he talks about the fact that this guy beat my brother for the title. And they also, you could even relate it back to Royal Rumble 94, because at Royal Rumble 94, Bret and Owen Hart are going for the tag team belts. They don't get the titles. Afterwards, Owen kicks Bret's leg out of his leg, and then Owen goes on a rant about how he's never had a belt before. He's never had one of the titles before. This was his big chance, and now he's lost it. In the meantime, between then and now, you've had Bret and Owen have their matches, and they had their cage match at SummerSlam for the title. Bret's come out on top, and at this point, Owen's now gone. They've kind of gone, right, what's the next part of Owen's journey? Okay, now he's not been able to go for the title. He's going to go back to the basics, start where Bret started in the tag teams, get that belt, and try and emulate him that way. So I love that this is entirely in line with that character and that story that Owen Hart has been going on throughout the last 18 months, 2 years. It makes complete sense. And again, I kind of understand what you mean about Owen Hart and Yokozuna. They don't make obvious tag team partners, but at the same time, time, given that story, for me, it makes perfect sense that Owen Hart would go and get Yokozuna. So that's why I've always thought of it as so natural. But I do take your point, just randomly kind of entering this position where you're like, what's going on here? And then Owen Hart and Yokozuna together, that's a bit strange.
I do have to agree with Matt in that this is my match of the night.
Wow, really?
Yeah. It was either this or the Razor match, and I decided to go with this one. This is also the match that I kind of referenced earlier. It's when Owen Hart is announcing Yokozuna as his tag team partner, is when Vince and Jerry Lawler are talking over him the entire time, which is really, really, really weird. They do that backstage promo where Vince is talking to the Guns, and Billy Gunn with that tash and that hair looks unreal. And Billy Gunn's promo is okay, Bart's is absolutely dreadful. And there's something so weird on the way, and maybe it's because like I think of Billy Gunn mainly in his kind of DX thing, but his smile as he comes to the ring is so unbelievably forced and cheesy. The Smokin Gunns hit this move, which it looks like a real low-key, low-impact move that could go horribly wrong if it's mistimed. And it's when you quite often see in tag matches, especially in this era, where one of the tag team members will go to twist their arm and hold it out, and then they'll tag the other partner, and the other partner will come in and do like a double axe handle off the bottom rope or something. The way the Smokin Gunns do it is that I think it's Bart will go up to the top rope and come off, and he'll jump with his legs over the arm and almost straddle it down. And I thought to myself, I was watching it, I was like, you could absolutely destroy someone's arm if the person who's holding onto the wrist lock doesn't let go. Made me feel a bit uneasy, if I'm being honest. I probably thought about that a lot more than anybody ever has. But I reckon this match made me think I should go back and watch a bit more 1995 WWF so I can watch a bit more Owen Hart and Yokozuna, because I think they work really well together. I love the fact that Owen Hart is this little obnoxious dickhead in the ring, but who can go, and he's even more of an obnoxious dickhead because he's got this absolute monster behind him. This monster who hits a leg drop on Billy Gunn, on the back of Billy Gunn's head, and it looks hideous. It looks like he kills him. And there's a couple of other bits that are moves that Yoko does. He hits an incredible belly to belly suplex. Again, I think it might be on Billy Gunn, that looks like it's going to kill him, and he hits the bonsai drop on Billy Gunn, and it looks brutal, and I love the ending of it. And the bit that I loved is that Owen Hart drags him out of the corner. I think it's Billy Gunn. Again, he goes to put the sharpshooter on, and he's like, I can just pin him. I don't need to do the sharpshooter. And it's brilliant. It's a really, really good way to end the match. The one last bit about it is during this era, during a match with either Brett or Owen, Jerry Lawler is always on absolute fire. And there's a line that he says, where he says, they thought Old Yeller was a movie about one of Stu's teeth, which just made me laugh. So yeah, that was a highlight of it. I thought this match was my match of the night.
This match isn't my match of the night, but I do quite like it. And that's the thing about Yokozuna for me. He doesn't do a lot, but those three moves, the leg drop, the belly to belly, and the bonsai drop, look so devastating every time, nearly every time anyway. I don't care. It just doesn't matter to me. They look so devastating. The bonsai drop, especially, there's one classic clip where he does it on a jobber, and it just looks like he absolutely kills him with it. It just looks like he just properly full on lands on his chest, and you're like, my goodness, that must have hurt. I love the belly to belly, and I love the leg drop. I think the leg drop is absolutely stunning as a move. It just looks great. Those three moves I could watch all day. So I'm a big fan of Yokozuna, always have been. And there's, if you're going to talk about Smokin Gunns and their double team moves, it's not the one with the arm lock, with the the wrist lock you want to worry about. It's the other one where Bart holds him up in like a backbreaker position, and Billy manages to get himself up really quite high, in fairness, and do a kind of leg drop on him whilst he's hovering in the air. I think that's it's quite a tiny move, that one.
The jobber you referenced just then, I can remember, I don't know if this is the same one you talk about, but there's always a really brutal one on Virgil that he did early in his career. That is that one. What he manages to do, and it's always the same thing I wonder about, like the moves like the coup de grace, the double foot stomp. I don't know how people do it and have it not absolutely cave your chest in. And obviously what Yoko does when he comes off the second rope is he lands with his feet, but then he pushes his feet out, so it kind of like slows the momentum down a little bit. But there's a couple of them where it just looks like he doesn't bother to put his feet down. It just absolutely annihilates someone. It's horrendous.